Welcome in, everybody. Welcome. It is a wonderful day today. So we're going to get started here. And this is where we like to start our presentations, is we like to talk about stories. And you're going to hear a lot about storytelling today. In fact, we've heard some really great stories about agents over the last couple of months. So we want to know, when was a time where you were working with a client and something went off the rails? Something happened and you had to save the deal for them, but something crazy happened. And actually, we've heard a lot of these, Christian. You know, my favorite is still, there was the couple that was selling the house and they heard something in the attic. And they're like, well, we got to check this out before we sell the house. We can't have something weird in the attic. And it turns out they go up and there's bats in the attic. And that's normally something that you would just handle with a tennis racket, right? You shoo them. You gently shoo them out of the house to get these bats out. But it turns out that this was an endangered species of bat. So now they have to call the zoo to come and get the professionals to come and relocate these bats into like a safe space that's safe for them to be an endangered species. Christian, you heard one. Didn't they take something out of the house?
Oh my God, this one was great. The buyer's agent and their client were doing the final walkthrough, and they showed up the house, and they were walking through. Everything looked great until it didn't look great, and they realized that there were some pretty critical pieces of plumbing that had been taken from the house. So apparently the guy who sold the house was very emotionally attached to some parts of the plumbing. So packed his suitcases, packed the moving truck, ripped out the plumbing, took it with him, and that's what the buyer's agent had to deal with. So that one.
How do you do that? Pack your suitcases and take the pipes with you. That's a good one.
I don't know.
You know, the most dramatic one we've heard, Christian, was that the chimney was on fire. There was the listing agent calls the buying agent right after they make an offer, and now says the chimney's on fire. And she goes, the chimney? This is like the one part of the house that's supposed to be able to handle fire. How is the chimney on fire? And she goes, I don't know. So now she has to call their client and tell her before she sees it on the news. So these are things that happen with agents. These are some extreme stories. Now, we do have the chat open. So if you have any stories like this, please let us know, because we're on the hunt for any of these great stories that people have where something happens with their clients. All right, so we're going to get started in just a minute here, but when we go through our platform in just a couple minutes, I'd love it if you'd follow along with us. So the way to get logged in here is go to Rayse.com, and Yvonne is in the chat. She can put that into the chat here. It's Rayse.com. In the top right, you're going to see login. You click on agent login, and then there's a button that says login with MLS, and you'll be able to log in with your MLS from there. And that way, you can get in and follow along with us, and you can get ready to create your first journey and see what presentations are like. So I would encourage you right now, go ahead, get logged in, and then follow along with us as we go through it. All right, so we broke out the big guns just for you guys today. Our CEO, Christian Dwiggins, is going to be taking us through what is Rayse? What is this thing? Why is it important? How is it important in today's market, in the industry? And how is this going to help you in your business? So, Christian, take it away.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I come from a real estate family. My mother was an agent. My dad was a broker. My grandfather was a broker. I think probably one of my first words as a child was some real estate term, and then inevitably followed by a profanity. As a young child, looking up to your mother, who was often the breadwinner in our family, watching her struggle through this real estate experience, often coming home in tears because a client wanted her to cut her commission, or something happened with the broker, or she got ghosted, or the listing agent was being problematic, or something or other. You guys know this because you live it on a daily basis. But for me, as a small child looking up at my mother, that was quite impactful. My brother decided to go into the real estate industry. You may or may not know him, James Dwiggins, owner and CEO of Next Home. Also co-founder here at Rayse. He decided to follow in the footsteps and go into real estate. I, on the other hand, decided to get as far away from this industry as possible. And so I joined the military. And then out of the military, I fell into entertainment. So I worked in entertainment for 20, 25 years. Why is this important? Well, part of the things that I learned while working in entertainment, both in music, film, and television, and mostly on the sound side, I learned about storytelling. And good storytelling is a really important tool to have, and one that I think you guys have in real estate have often tried to work into your marketing and work into how you drum up business. So we're going to talk about storytelling today. I left the music industry after earning a couple of accolades, and then fell into technology. I've been working as a technologist for another decade and a half. And then I ran a couple companies. And then finally, my friend who runs a team out in Beverly Hills, who may or may not be on one of those Netflix shows, invited me to come back to help scale his team. And so it sucked me back in. And here I am now fully immersed in the world of real estate. And we've designed a new platform that we're really excited to tell you about. So back to what's important, your clients, right? We're going to talk about the story about you guys, the story that clients think about you guys, the story the industry is talking about you guys, a lot of different stories. So let's talk about what's happened over the last couple of years. We've all talked about this lawsuit in 2024 ad nauseum at this point. And nothing really changed a whole lot. There's some contracts that are in play now. But most of the business is still operating the way it has. I just was reading an interview on Inman not that long ago, and interviewed 5 agents and what they think their perspective is after the lawsuit, what's changed. And on the listing side, most of them said, well, we have to over-explain why we have to offer a compensation to the other side. And so more conversations are happening in that regard. And on the buy side, buyer's agents are having to explain how compensation works even more clearly, and why contracts need to be signed. But other than that, nothing really has changed. And what really hasn't changed is the consumer perspective on what agents actually do. These questions are still being asked. I don't understand what agents do. I have been on, a portal for the last 3 months, and I feel like I'm an expert in this market space. I could find my home online. I don't really understand why I need you. Or you get, towards the end and it's like, why am I paying this much? I don't even understand what happened. All of these questions are still happening. Well, let's take a left turn here. Maybe you guys have seen this article. Another story being told about you guys. The DOJ thinks realtors make too much money. Well, I know you don't think you make too much money. We over here at Rayse know that agents aren't making too much money. This is a tough market. I watch my mom struggle on a daily basis as an agent. I know the struggles very, very intimately about what an agent goes through on a day-to-day basis. We hear these stories. Tom and I hear these stories on a day-to-day basis from agents on our platform. And so for the DOJ just to sort of arbitrarily think realtors make too much money, it's a farce. So this is just more stories being poured on that are false about you guys. Let's take another turn. Maybe you guys heard this acquisition. Rocket buys Redfin. And so what are they doing? They basically are selling off agent services as a loss leader so that they can, in offering clients a discount on their mortgage. Let me be clear about what this means for just a quick second. There is no amount of discount that you could ever provide a client that can compete with some sort of discount on a mortgage. And so this acquisition is big. This acquisition is really big. They are essentially grooming clients to think that there is no monetary value to your services. They are selling it off for free and giving consumers a discount on mortgage. Another big story that is invalidating the stuff that you do on a day-to-day basis. But enough about the doom and gloom. This is not why you guys are here, and this is not what you guys deal with on a day-to-day basis, okay? What you guys do on a day-to-day basis is try to serve your clients. You literally are just trying to win a client. You're trying to service them and keep them working with you. And in the end, you're hoping for more referrals. That's ground zero. That's what you do on a day-to-day basis. I need to find a new client. I need to service that client and show them all of the awesome stuff that agents do. And in the end, I really hope they can refer me to another one and we start that cycle all over again. So the only thing that matters is what clients think about you. That's it. That's all that matters. What do your clients think? What do they think about you when they first meet you, while you're working with them, and in the end? Because how are they supposed to know what you're worth? How are they supposed to assess value? How are they supposed to feel validated in whatever compensation they paid you in the end if they don't really understand what it is? This is the disconnect that has to be changed. So we ask clients, what do you think of agents? What do you understand agents do? How much time do you think an agent spends on any given transaction? And I apologize, this survey is pretty much a gut punch. But this is the reality. This is where we're starting. So we sent a survey out to about 1,000 buyers and sellers, and we asked some questions, and we ended up with these surveys, which we're about to go through right now. On the sell side, 51% thought that the listing agent spent 20 or fewer hours working on them. 20 or fewer hours. That's insane. And on the buy side, half of them thought 15 or fewer. This is where we're starting from. All right. This is what consumers think. Like their experience in this, whether they had a wonderful experience with their agent, they just never really understand what happened in the background, or they just show up thinking, I don't understand. I found the home by myself. Don't you guys just, open doors on the listing? Don't you guys just put signs in the lawn and then like magically offers appear? This is where we're starting from. So, Tom, I think we like right now to put a little poll in the field.
Yes, absolutely. We want to know what you think. And this is actually pretty interesting because you just saw, here's what our clients think. But we've been asking agents all over the country, how long do you think a transaction takes from beginning to end, that first conversation all the way through closing? We've actually got the data here because we've been tracking this for a long time. So let us know, and in a few minutes, we'll actually come back and we'll let you know what it looks like. All right.
So we have a couple more stats here, which are less dark. So let's look at these. So in our survey, we said, we asked, do clients think it's important for their agent to keep them updated via real-time text or app during a transaction? 96% said yes, obviously, right? 82% of clients said they would find value in a tool that shows exactly what agents are doing. Behind the scenes, they want to see all the activities. They want to see the marketing, the offers, the updates. They want to see all of that stuff. Here's a not so obvious stat. And Tom laughed at me when I was putting this together. So
I didn't want you to get your feelings hurt. Like, it hurts to get a 0, right?
I know. Well, it turns out it wasn't a 0. 64% of clients said they would be willing to pay their agent a little more if they had a tool like this. And another 25% said they might, given the right circumstance. So we'll find some blend. Let's call it 70, 75%. 75% of clients said they would be willing to pay you guys a little bit more if they could just see what's going on in real time. If they just had an understanding of all of the work that goes in the background. That's the gap we're trying to cross here. That's a crazy stat. But it's also not so crazy. Like, we all use DoorDash and Postmates and Uber Eats and all of those apps, right? Like, and we all know we're paying fees for those. So we're all willing to pay a little bit more for the convenience and the transparency, right? We want to be able to see. We want to be able to, sit back and experience this from wherever our comfort zone is. And we want to see what's happening all the way through this, whatever transaction it is. So this is actually not that crazy. This is the paradigm by which all of your clients experience most transactions in their life. Why is real estate so different? This is more important than any of those sorts of things. Why is it that we can go order a pizza right now without pineapple, by the way? Because all you pineapple people eating,
there's so
pizza
many
eating people are
agents that love pineapple pizza.
But no, all right, no pineapple on this pizza. But just for an example, hear me out. We're gonna order pizza, all right? We're going to put the order in. We can see when it was received. We can see when it goes into the oven. We can see when it gets out of the oven. We can see when the driver picks it up. We can see who the driver is. We can see the reviews. We can communicate with the driver. We can tell them, hey, don't knock or ring the doorbell. The baby's sleeping. We can see when they leave it. We can see the photo where they left it. We can give them a review, all those sorts of things. We can see all of that stuff on a $20 transaction, $20, and you get all of this wonderful transparency. And in real estate, nothing. It's you guys out there trying to call them, text them, email them, carrier pigeon, like whatever it is. And if you don't communicate with them in the next like 2 hours, they're having a small meltdown, and then you become their therapist and all of these things. And it's just this awkward scenario. It's not like you guys aren't doing work. It's just that they can't see what's going on. They're not being part of this transparent. There's no transparency to pull you guys together. So, Tom, let's talk about that stat really quick. I know we got the poll back.
Absolutely. So it looks like it's around 50 to 80 hours seems to be the most. On average, it's around, 30 to 50 or 50 to 80 seems to be what agents think all across the country of how long this transaction, atypical transaction takes. Now, when we're talking about this, we talk about from the first conversation all the way through closing, and there's so much that we do for our clients. It almost feels like autopilot. It's just something that we do for them, right? But it's still things that you're doing. So the truth is, on average, it takes between 80 and 110 hours on an average transaction. Now, whenever we ask this, we always ask, there's a hands button here as well. If you've worked with a client for over a year, let me know. Because whenever we ask that, everybody raises their hands. Everybody's worked with somebody for that long. And think about that. If this is an average transaction, what does it look like if you've been working with them for that long? Yes.
And put in the chat, by the way, we're curious, how many hours is your longest client? Have you worked with your longest client? Like guesstimate, how many days, how many hours do you think you put in? Because that one always stuns us. Please throw it in the chat. Let everybody see. All right, let's move forward. So back to storytelling. All right. So many stories about what agents do. It's been floated out there in this ethos. We have prop tech coming in that says, "Oh, we're going to replace agents. They're not needed anymore." We have portals who are doing national televised campaigns on TV, which are showcasing agents and making them look like used car salesmen. We got $1 Million Listing and other Netflix shows that shows that agents are making an exorbitant amount of money and not really providing a ton of value. We got Rocket coming in and selling off agent services. We have all of these things, all of these stories that are being told about you, all of this bias. But that's not the truth. Because everybody who's been working, who's either an agent or as over here working at Rayse, we see the data, we see the truth. We know what the facts are. We know how many hours you guys put in. We know how many outcomes you guys are checking off on any given day. So the only way to bridge this gap, right? The only way to stop this farce and tell the true story is with verified proof. The only way to show your value and earn more is with this verified proof. All right. So how do we do that? Well, we built a platform for that. We have the Agent Value Platform. All right. We put in a lot of time and energy building a platform that are about agents. This is about you and your work. This is not some CRM. CRMs are valuable. I guess they're important. Like, I get it. Top of funnel stuff. I don't mean to hate on CRMs. Like, they're fine. This is not that. CRMs don't do anything for your clients. All right. Transaction coordination. It's also not that. Also very important. We need that to keep all the things organized, but that's a bit more of a project management tool. Also not really helpful for your client. What is helpful for your client is their connection to you, building trust and rapport with you, and being able to see what it is that you are doing in this transaction. What is your unique value that you're bringing into this journey with them? They are trusting you as that guide, and all they're asking for is to see what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis in the background as you are crushing off all of the things you have to do for your clients. This is what Rayse platform does. All right. So we're going to jump into the three main tenets of this platform, which is all geared to show you off. The first is we have interactive presentations, right? And we've lined up these tenets, by the way, in three key areas: win, I just punched my microphone. Win clients, retain clients, and then get more referrals. Okay. We want to win clients, we want to retain them, and we want to get more referrals. That's what we're doing. So we built the 3 main outputs of this platform to solve those issues. Rayse interactive presentations is how you win clients. It's a new digital interactive presentation that really allows you to wow your clients. It's all about your value. It's got awesome, you know what? How about I just show you a quick little, let's do this really quick. This is what it looks like. It's digital, it's interactive. You can tell your story any way you want. Each of these cards represents a different talk track. And you can click into these cards, you can provide data to your clients, and you can click in further. And it even has fun little animations that talk about all the things that you have to do in the background to get to an accepted offer. And you as an agent, while it's your job to deal with all of this nuance and complexity in the background, now you have a client portal with Rayse that your clients can follow along very easily and understand everything that it is you do in real time. And this is what this presentation allows you to do. You get to show your clients all of your value. It's even written, my value, all over the presentation, talking about you and how and your unique position in this real estate journey with your client. So those are those presentations. It's not meant to take over everything else you use. I'm sure your dusty PDFs are doing a great job. But you can bring in now a new digital presentation. And I promise you, clients that see this thing are like, oh, wow, this feels different. This is really slick. Like, oh yeah, I understand what it is that you're going to do and the value you're going to bring. It's really, really powerful. We're going to get into it a little bit more in a minute. The next is retain. So we talked about win. Now we're going to retain clients, right? No ghosting. We want to make sure that they understand and are connected to you while you are doing the amazing work that you do. So we built a client portal. All right. The client portal, there's no app for them to download. They just have it's your personalized, customized website. They have a login, password, and in this portal, it shows everything that you do for your client in real time. So as you come into our platform and you check off your agent portal, you just check off a couple of things. The client portal is lighting up and showing off all of that value. It even has fun little things like moments and weekly updates. So it celebrates things like, oh, your offer was accepted, congratulations. And then weekly updates. Every week it'll reconcile what all of the work that happened in the background and puts it in a nice little report. So that's the client portal. Powerful, right? This is your little digital window into the work that happens in the background that your clients just get to log in and see what happens anytime that they want. This is an anxiety reducer. You know what? We should call this the Xanax portal. This reduces the anxiety for your clients because they get to see that transparency. They get to see what it is in the background. All right. Finally, we get to what we call the closing report. So we talked about winning, retaining. Now we want to get to referrals. So you get to the end, you do all this wonderful work, and sometimes the client is like, this is great. And I see I'm signing a check for a pretty large amount of money. You're getting a pretty hefty commission, but I don't understand. I really don't know what you did. I'm okay that you're getting this, but I don't understand. That's not the experience that clients need anymore. They want to know, as I mentioned, they want this transparency to see everything you do. So the closing report, while you were coming in and just checking things off periodically in our platform, this closing report was building in the background. So when you get to the end, when you go to the closing table or final, however you ceremoniously move your client off into their new home or out of their home, you get to bring them a closing report. And this closing report shows every single thing that happened in the transaction, everything. And it aggregates it into fun storytelling data points. We worked together for 47 days. We toured 11 homes. We wrote 3 offers. I negotiated $6,500 in closing credits, 21 milestones, 105 outcomes, 81 and a half hours, and I drove for almost 400 miles. And then on behind all of those pages, you can see every single thing that you've come in and you checked off. We did this thing, we did this thing, we did this thing. It writes it in long story form. Together, we accomplished this thing. We did this thing. We did this thing. It's all a full line item of everything. So there's no more questions about what it is that you do. Some of these reports are 20, 30, 40 pages long because there's a lot that goes on in the transaction. And clients are like, wow, I had no idea. There's so much here. Okay, so that's the closing report. Now, how does this equal more referrals? Well, let's go down the role playing of what happens with your client after you give them this closing report. So you get to the end, you give them the closing report. Here's everything that we've done. They're super happy. Your client's stoked, and then everybody goes on with their life. 2 months, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it happens to be, a friend of theirs says, hey, do you know a great agent? And your client goes, yeah, my agent was wonderful. They use this really fun platform. I had a portal. I got to see everything as it was going down. We had some problems, but we worked through it, and I understood everything as it was happening. It was really great. Oh, wait, hold on. Check this out. And they pulled out the closing report, and they hand the closing report to their friend. And their friend goes, wow. There's 32 pages here. Wait, I thought they only did like 10 hours of work or 15 hours of work. Wait, all of this? Your agent did all of this? They're like, yeah, this is what my agent did. This is the report. This is everything that happened. Who do you think wins that referral? You do. So that's how you gain referrals. And there's a little added benefit, by the way. A lot of agents are using this report when they go on their next consultation to win the next client also. So they use our digital presentations and a closing report to show them, hey, here's everything I did for the last client. This is what you can expect from us. It's super powerful. All right. So winning clients with the presentations, retaining clients with the client portal, and then repeat and referral business with that closing report. This is the ecosystem that we've built, all based on your value. You do nothing. You don't change anything. You go on about your day. You keep doing the things that you do. In our platform, you just come in, you check those things off, and everything else sings. It just makes you look like an absolute rock star. So we're about to get into the platform, but all of this Rayse empowerment equals Agent 2.0. We believe that transparency is power and transparency is the future here. Clients are asking to understand what it is that their agents are doing. You guys have to be more articulate about what it is you do and defend your space. There's too many outside detractors that are coming in for years and years and years now saying that agents' value is not valuable. It's time to take the story back. And this is what Agent 2.0 is all about. You get to tell your own story and show your client in real time. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to turn this over to Tom, and we're going to start getting into the platform. We're going to show you how to make this platform sing all about you. So, Tom, I'm going to stop sharing, and you can start us into the platform.
Absolutely. Okay. By the way, when Christian says that he got a few accolades in the music industry, he means he won a Grammy Award, just so you guys know.
Yeah. It did nothing for my career, and here I am.
All right. So, again, we're going to go through the platform now, and I'd like you guys to follow along. So, if you could, go to Rayse.com. It's in the chat right now, RAYSC.com. You're going to see login on the top. Go to Agent Login, and then on the right-hand side, there's a button that says Sign In with MLS. Go ahead and click that if you haven't done so already, and you can follow along with us because that is going to take you here. And this is your agent dashboard here. So, in the middle, if this is the first time you're logging in, you're going to see Create Your First Journey. So, we'll get to that in just a second, but you'll see I have all my journeys in here. I've got a couple clients that we're going with. So a quick tour of our dashboard here is these are your journeys. This is all of your active work that we're currently doing. Then there's next to that is clients. So this is your phone book. This is all of our clients that we have. So this is where we go if we need to make some corrections. Now, the first time that you're creating a journey, you don't have to come into clients first. We're going to go to journeys and create that journey. That's how it works. So, but this is where we can go if we need to, let's say, change their last name, or if they want a different email, that's okay. We can do that through here. All right, then we have presentations. So like Christian said, we have both the buyer and seller presentations. Those are in here. Now, we'll explain that. We'll actually show you a whole presentation here in just a minute. And this is where we can create those presentations. So when we click on that, you'll be able to find those. And then there's activities. Now, anytime that you go out into the world with your clients, I don't expect you to stop and come into this platform and start entering things in. So we created this automation that's going to work for you. So let's say I go on a buyer tour with one of my clients and I go and visit 5 or 10 different places. They're all just going to show up here. How long was I driving? How many miles did I go? How long were you at the actual listing for? So I don't have to record any of that because Rayse is going to do it for you. And we'll show you that in just a few minutes there is the Rayse Assistant app, which is in the App Store. So we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. So before we use any of these things, we have to create a journey. So let's do that first. So in the middle, you're going to see create your first journey. But once you have one, we have create new journey on the bottom. There's also a plus button next to journeys. There's another plus button on the right-hand side. Christian put places to start journeys everywhere on this screen. So anywhere that you want to, we're going to go ahead and start a new journey. Now, we have existing clients and new clients. Now, for all of you, these are going to be new clients because existing is anybody that I've already put into Rayse. So if we're new here, these are all going to be new clients. So I can put in a new client's first name, last name, email address, and phone number. That's it. That's all I need. And for any of my clients, I've got all 4 of these things here. So I have that. So we're going to put in Rachel Green. So it's time to move out of that New York apartment. We're going to buy a house with Rachel here. Okay, so we have our friend Rachel and our journey start date. So I'm actually going to go and meet with Rachel for the first time 2 days from now. On Friday. So we're going to meet with our client 2 days from now, and we're going to meet with her and do that presentation. But I'm actually going to start my journey today because I'm doing work for her. I'm starting my journey. And again, this feels almost like it's autopilot, right? I'm getting ready. I'm doing things for my client, but I'm still doing those. So you know what? Let's make this journey start today. And then we have our journey type. Is this a buyer, or are they buying a house or are they selling? Now, it's not uncommon for somebody to move, right? So they're doing both. So we're going to have to create 2 different journeys. So in this one, she's buying a house. Now, once we do that, we can go back and create the sell side. And then in the client portal, she'll be able to switch back and forth. Ooh, there's a very good question that says, so is Rachel a prospect at this point, or has she signed the buyer broker agreement already? At this point, she's still a prospect because we're going to go and do that presentation next. So that's actually the next thing we're going to do. So very good question. Okay, so next we have to pick our template here. So I'm going to pick the Rayse default template. That's what you guys will see in here. Now, that's what's going to be in the journey. All of the things that you're going to see in the journey, and we'll explain that in just a minute. But you can customize this. Whatever your process is, you can put that in here. So that's all I need is I have my client, the start date, the journey type, and then the template. So we're going to create that journey, and then you'll see that journey show up on your journey list. So here's Rachel. So I have Rachel here, and this is the journey. Now, Christian, this is what the structure of the journey is. So what am I looking at right now?
Yeah, so we needed to talk to hundreds of agents and hundreds of brokerages and teams, and we got to figure out, what do you guys do? And so we figured that out. We mapped it all out. We took all of the things that have to happen in a sell side transaction, and we tried to generalize and simplify it into a structure so that we can accomplish 2 things. 1, it's super easy for you to come in and just check things off. And 2, it's super easy for your clients to read about these things and understand what the process and the workflow is. So we organized it into a journey hierarchical structure that is steps, milestones, and outcomes. All right. There's 4 steps at the top. You can see those tabs: consultation, tours and offers, contract and closing. On the sell side, it's pre-listing, listing and marketing, contract and closing. That's the difference. Underneath all of those tabs are milestones. And inside each of those milestones are outcomes. Now, your outcomes are the most important thing to pay attention to. These are the things that you check off. These are your value-driven outcomes that you do for your client on a day-to-day basis. And now, again, in our default template, we have a pretty good handle on what needs to happen. But we also wanted to give you flexibility. So as you come in and you just check these things off like Tom showed, you can also add things. So there's a plus button on each milestone, and you can add an outcome if you want. That way you can put whatever you want on the fly, all right? So maybe it's, I don't know, give flower. I don't know, whatever outcome you want. Give your client flowers for signing the BRBC, whatever it happens to be. You can put whatever it is in here on the fly. That will show up here. You can check it off, and it will also show up on the client portal. And this is basically, this is the foundation of your journey. Everything is foundationally attached to this journey structure. We have buy and sell side journeys. We have default templates in there. But most importantly, you can create your own template. So if you want to customize this whole thing, you want to put 500 new outcomes in here because you know you're type A personality and you want to very meticulously put the way that you do it, and we encourage that, by the way. The more and more you make this about you, the more and more powerful and differentiated you are. You can do that. So that's what this journey structure is. Let's go to Journey's home screen for a quick second. So here's your journey home screen, and you'll see more tabs at the top. You have active. So these are you're currently working with these clients, trying to win them, etc. Then you have inactive. So when Rachel decides, nah, we're going on a break this month, you can stick her in the inactive column just to get her out of the way. Closed is self-explanatory. You made it all the way through this journey. You close this transaction with your client, and then we arrive at templates. And this is that place where you can create your own template. You can name it whatever you want. You can add things. You can rewrite things, whatever it happens to be. But this is where you can change and customize those things. All right. I think that's mostly it. Do we have any questions on templates? I don't see anything in the chat at the moment, but please fire off a question if you have anything.
Nothing on templates, but what is the difference between a buy side and a sell side journey?
Really, it's just the first two steps. So if you, yep, there it is. So pre-listing and listing and marketing are the first two tabs that are different. Everything else is the structure is the same. You have milestones and you have outcomes. And then contract and closing, as you know, the two sides basically merge, and most of the contract and closing is the same on both sides. All right. So what do we need to do first, right? We want to turn a prospect into an actual client. So we got to go win. We got to go win this thing.
Let's go win this client. Okay. So we're going to go over to presentations. So we have both the buyer and seller presentations here. So you can see that now. Rachel, she's buying, and I'm going to meet her in a couple of days. So let's go ahead and create this presentation. So I'm going to select buyer presentation. I've created her journey. Now you do have to create that journey first. We're going to select her name, and then you're going to see all this information here. Now, if this is the first time you're logging in, you will have to enter this in, but every time after that, it's just going to pull the same information in. So you only ever have to do this once. So now you'll notice here, I have the single family, the purchase price, the square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, all that stuff in here. Now, if I'm meeting her for the first time on Friday, then I don't have this information for Rachel yet. So this is my last success story, the last person I went the whole distance with, right? So I can say the last person that I closed with, they closed at $300,000. This was the home. There was 30 homes toured. Now, this is Christian. He actually just bought a home and he toured 30 houses. Let us know in the chat if you think that's too many. We've heard that it's too many. Anyway, okay, so 4 offers made, 60 days total, a family of 5, and then we have our market averages under that. So like we just saw, the last success story we had, we want to explain to Rachel what the process looks like, but that may not be what an average transaction looks like. So let's put those averages in here. So it's about 12 homes is normal. Then we have 3 contracts written, 45 days into contract, 60 days to close. And that's what is average. Now, underneath this is your professional value. So remember, this whole platform is to make you look like a rock star here. So we're going to put in how many years did we work, 200 deals closed, 3 certifications. Now, Yvonne, who's helping us in the chat, what she likes to say is if you have a real estate license, you've got at least one. So however many certifications you have, you've got at least one in here. So let's put that in. And then there's how I get paid. Now, this is a section which is in that presentation, which lets you explain what this compensation is, what it's going to be. Now, that can always be an awkward conversation, especially when we have to get the BRBC signed up front or on the sell side. We've always had to do that. So now this is a really simple way to have that conversation about compensation with our clients. So we can check that off. We can put in what our commission rate is. And then there's the waterfall of all the things that come out. So we get to explain that to our clients. So there it is. Now I'm going to click launch presentation, and it's going to take us into that buyer presentation. So this is the buyer presentation. The seller presentation looks very similar. It's just a different journey. That's what it is. But the first thing you notice is this is you. It's all branded for you. You're going to see your headshot in here, your brokerage logo, your colors, all of that stuff is going to be in here. Now, Christian, this doesn't just explain what the process is, but why do you need an agent and why should it be this agent? So how do I speak to that?
Yeah, look, back to storytelling. Good storytelling needs to understand their audience, right? And so your client, not every client is the same. Maybe you met this client through, some sort of portal program, like maybe you're on a flex team or something. And so you're doing what I like to call the driveway consult. And the team that I was running in Beverly Hills, they were heavy flex team, and all these agents were really struggling trying to win over a client that they're literally meeting in the driveway for their first time. They have no context of who you are. So this presentation can accommodate that type of client. On the other side, you have clients who maybe this is a referral from a close friend that you know for 35 years. They don't need all of the bells and whistles. They just need to know a couple of tactics. Well, we designed this presentation so that it accommodates all of that. Each of these cards represents a different talk track. So you can scroll and spin the wheel and decide which of these cards are relevant to this client. Maybe this client needs all of them. Maybe this client only needs to talk about what it means to be raised empowered. Maybe you just want to have a conversation about how I get paid. It's up to you. And so this wheel allows you to tell your story. And you can click into this card and you get to the second layer. And you can begin to tell, we're going to imagine this is somebody who you don't know that well. And so Rachel, who doesn't know anything about you and doesn't know much about this process, for example, you can remind her, hey, finding the home, Rachel, is only 5% of the process. I know you've been on that portal for the last 6 months and you think you're an expert, but there's a lot more that goes in. That's only 5% of what happens. I'll help you navigate the rest of it. And then you can click in and you can remind Rachel, look, there's 3 things you shouldn't be doing without an expert, okay? You shouldn't skydive, obviously. Even more obvious than that, you shouldn't get brain surgery. You wouldn't want to do that without an expert. And finally, you don't want to buy a home without an expert. Why? You can't return the home. This is the most expensive thing that you're ever going to purchase. Scrolling down, you can remind Rachel, you don't know what you don't know, okay? And there's a lot of things that arise that are little snags and little quicksands and little problems here and there. I've been through this before. I understand what those pitfalls are. Do you know how much it costs to replace a roof? Is that legal? Have you met a termite up close and personal? Do you know what the difference between good countertops and bad countertops? Do you know how to build equity? Do you know if that bar down the street is open until 3 a.m.? Is it open all night? How loud is it going to be? Do you know any of those sorts of things? So these are the questions, and this is why I'm here. Scrolling down, I'm here to be your advocate. I'm here to simplify this process. I have the smart market insights, and I work transparently. So transparently that let me tell you about my last success story. So the last client I worked with, we bought a single family home, $300,000, 4-bed, 3-bath. We had to tour 30 homes because this guy was bougie and he could not make up his mind. He wanted to see everything that was on the market before he made any decision. By the way, this guy is me. And so 30 homes is what we had to look at. We wrote 4 offers. It took us 60 days. It was a family of 5. One shared dream was fulfilled. So this is what I did for my last client. By the way, side note, if you're a new agent and you don't have a last success story, no problem. When you set this presentation up, there will be a toggle switch very shortly that will arrive there. You just turn this thing off and this will not show up in your presentation. So don't fret. The presentation works fine if you don't have last success story, but if you do, it's even more powerful and we'll give you that flexibility. So don't worry about that. By the way, also a side note, how I get paid has a toggle. If you don't want that in your presentation, you can turn that on and off as well. Okay, back to the talk track. You just told Rachel about your last success story, scrolling down. Now, Rachel, there are some crazy things that I have seen, all right? The last time that I took my client into the house on the final walkthrough, we found out that the guy took the pipes with him. Yes, he took the pipes with him. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And I had to go through and I had to call the listing agent. We had to negotiate and somebody had to pay for the plumber. And so I negotiated the listing agent to pay for the plumber and we didn't want to get lawsuits involved. Like, it was a whole thing. I've had a story where we had bats in the attic and I had to go and I thought I was just going to go up there and get rid of the bats, but no. They were endangered bats, of course. And so I had to hire like a zookeeper or something or other to go up there and get these endangered bats out of the season, out of the attic. These are things that you have no idea can happen, and I've seen happen. All right. So this is why I'm here. All right. Side note, guys. The craziest thing I experienced at a transaction is the most powerful part of this entire presentation. As silly as it might seem on the surface, being able to tell your future clients how you saved a deal in the past is a power play. It is 100% the value you bring. You have experience. You've heard crazy stories, whether you've experienced them or not experienced them. This is storytelling and you're trying to win a client. So tell a story. Tell them about the crazy things that you've heard from the field. Tell them about the crazy things that you have saved the deal, somehow saved the deal in the past. It bridges the gap. It builds rapport and helps build trust. I promise. Agents that have, we already have feedback. Agents who get to this part, the presentation with their clients are like, dude, this is awesome. I'm in. Like, let's go. In which case, you just scroll down a little bit further and there's a button you can push. It says get started. It fires off an invitation to your client. They set their password. You guys are connected on the client portal and you are off and running. That's how easy it is. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this presentation, you want to talk about tactics. Maybe they're another type A personality that really wants to know the nuance. You can go over to the next card. You can do that by here. Now, this big number is pulling in the number of outcomes that you have in your journey. So if you, again, are that person that was really meticulous about filling out their template and you put 1,001 things in here, this number will be 1,001. It's totally up to you. In this case, 466 things to get done before we even get to an accepted offer, Rachel. Clicking in, you start this animation and you can tell Rachel, look, there's a lot of things that are happening in the background, and I don't expect you to know all of them. This is my job. This is literally what you're paying me for, is to take care of the nuance and the complexity in the background. But clicking in this animation, Rachel, you get to follow along in a very, very simple portal. There's no confusion. You'll see where we were, what we're doing, and where we're going. So scrolling down, Rachel, if you want to see a little bit more about what you can expect in Step 1 consultation, 4 milestones and 16 outcomes, and you can go in and click and turn these cards around and talk about each of these outcomes, these value-driven outcomes that you provide to your client. You can go over all of them. You can fill them out. Like you can build a larger template. These things can be rich with all of the outcomes you want to do, totally customized to your work. Scrolling down, you can show her that in tours and offers, every home, Rachel, not just the ones you like. Even if you walked in and 5 minutes later we walked out of it, I may have still done a lot of work, reaching out to the listing agent. I may have showed up and swept out the garage. I may have to shoo some bats out of the attic. You have no idea. All of this work happens in the background on every single home, not just the ones you remember or like. Scrolling down, you can show her this is going to be a different way of working together. Your client portal will show everything. It'll show the rejected homes that you didn't like. It'll show the ones we're evaluating, the ones we have offer. You'll be able to see all of that stuff. All the work that we do together will be centralized into this lovely portal. And scrolling down, finally, you get to the last prompt. Here is where you set the expectation for what is expected to happen in this market, right? You're probably going to have to tour 30 homes. We're going to have to write 4 offers. So Rachel, don't freak out on the first 2 offers if they're not accepted. Like, this is just the way it goes. I've done this enough times. This is what you can expect. It's going to take about 60 days and we're going to do 466 outcomes. You get to present yourself as the expert, knowing what's about to happen. So we can't go through all of these cards on the buyer's pres. We also have the seller's pres. It's very similar, except that the journey is different. So we don't have time to go into that. We're going to get it back into the platform, but that's a quick sneak peek on how you set up our presentation and how you win that client. Okay, Tom.
All right. So yeah, like you said, that was the buyer presentation. You can also create the seller presentation from here as well. All right, so let's go back to our journeys. Let's imagine we did this presentation. Rachel said, yes, we win this client. So I won this client. What do I need to do now? I'm going to go back into my journey here. But what I have to do is I'm going to send her the invitation because I want her to get this. I want her to get the invitation and start to follow along with everything that we're going to do. So you can see I've got my journey here. We've already checked off a few things because we did our presentation to her. We did a handful of these things. So now in the top right, you're going to see these 4 buttons. All 4 of these are important. So I'm going to see there's client portal, there's metrics, and then there's invite a client. That's the 3rd one in here. So I'm going to click on that. And you can see here's Rachel Green. There she is. Now, you'll see right here that this is accepted. There will be a button here that says invite client if we haven't done that yet. Now, I've accepted it on her behalf because I'll show you in a sec what it looks like. But let's say I want to add in some more people. If there's a married couple and let's say they have parents or kids away at college and they want to see what's going along here. But for Rachel, it's Monica. She wants to follow along with what's happening. So I can put in Monica Geller, her email address and phone number, and then create that client. And now she's going to get her own branded portal. So I can have as many people as I want in here. I can put in Phoebe and Ross and everybody. They can all be in here and get their own branded portal and follow along with what's happening with this. So what some agents are doing is they're using this to expand their sphere of influence. So if I do have, let's say that married couple I was talking about, and their 2 parents or 4 or however many are going to follow along, and then there's 2 or 3 kids that are going to be away at college that want to follow along. Now I've got all of these people that are in my sphere of influence, and the next time that they want to talk about real estate, who are they going to call? It's going to be the person they just saw do all of these things. So I can put all those people in here, get them a branded portal, and they have access to your contact information. So we'll see that. Okay, so that's how I can invite those clients. Now, just next to the invite a client is share your journey. So if there's any of us that work as a part of a team, or let's say you have an assistant or an admin or a transaction coordinator or anybody else, you can find them on the drop-down menu here. So we can search for users. You'll see all of these names in here. You can find them on that drop-down, click on them, and you're going to see here's Christian. He's my teammate. He's my guy. So he can now see this journey show up on his journey list, just like I see it on mine. So we can start to work together on this journey. If I'm out and I'm touring listings and I want him to check off some outcomes, or if I need him to create a journey or create a presentation because I'm on my way to go and do that, he can do that right from his portal. So we can share those journeys together. Okay, so that's how we share the journey. Now, when Rachel logs in, she's going to get that invite. It's going to be an email, and it'll have her log in. And when she logs in, it's going to look like this. Now, this is not part of the portal. This is my phone. So this is what Rachel will be seeing. You'll see here's Rachel. It's 44 days together that we've been on this journey. And you'll see I don't have much in here yet because this journey just started. So I can see I've got 2 activities. We don't have any outcomes in here yet. We just checked a few off. So let's go ahead and refresh this. And this does update in real time. So you're actually going to see there's my 7 outcomes that we just checked off. So they're already in here. So I can come in here and see all of those things. I can actually see the steps down here too. Consultation, tours and offers, contract and closing. Let me click into that. And here it is. So I have all of my milestones in here. I can even check into that. And here are those outcomes. So all those things that we've done together with our client, they all get listed out here. So now as we're going through this journey with our clients, they get to see this continue to grow. And as things are going, they get that full transparency into what's happening in their journey with the new home that they're going to move into. All right, so now what I do want to show you is this up on top here is you have this contact card. So you can see here's my headshot. When I can click into that, you have your big headshot in here, your contact info, your bio, your social profiles, even some reviews that are in here. All of this is for your clients. If they want to give you reviews, if this was a whole new client experience and they want to send this out to their friends and family and get those referrals to you, they have the avenue to do that. Or if we do what we just said is share this out where they put a bunch of people in there so that a lot of people have their own branded dashboards inside of Rayse. Now they all have your contact information to call you the next time they want to talk about real estate. So all of that is in here in the client portal. All right, let's go ahead and get out of this. Now, this is a brand new journey. So let's go ahead and go over to Steve. So I've got Steve Perry. If you guys know who Steve Perry is, put that in the chat. Just let me know. So we're on our journey with Steve. So we have a couple homes here. So I've got a couple homes with offers. I've got a few that are under consideration. So we're touring all of these homes. Now, how do we get a listing into Rayse? There's 2 different ways. One is don't see a home on the list, add one here. I can click on that, and then all I have to do is start typing the address. I can just type in the address, and it's going to pull everything in from the MLS. It'll have all the information, all of the images, all of that, and we'll see that in just a second. The other way is the automation that we talked about. That is the Rayse Assistant app. So when you download that on your phone, it's only going to have one button in it. It'll say resume monitoring. So let's say you go out into the world with your clients and you go and tour these different places. Or let's say you go to an inspection because your client is selling their home, or you go to that same listing a million times. That's going to track. That's going to be able to see all these things. So you'll see, let's say I go on a tour, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. And you'll see that has the time in here. So it'll actually show how many miles did we drive? How long were you in the car? And then how long were you at the listing? So I can see, let's say I drove 15 minutes to this listing and they walked in, they said it smelled really funny and they walked out. They were only in the listing for a total of 1 minute. So I can see all of that's there. But you know what? We went to that place. So I want that to be in the journey. So I can assign this to my journey. I can check all those off, find it on the list here, and I just have to click on that person's name. So we can find Rachel, or this one was Steve. And then when I click on that, I can continue, and it'll pull all of those listings in. So you'll see that in activities, and all of those addresses will then be under the tours and offers. Let's go back to Steve. So then we'll see all those lists in here. All right. So I want you to take a look at the client portal, and anytime I send something to my clients, I want to know what it looks like. Now, we just saw the client portal from Rachel, but you're not going to be logging in as Rachel. But what we have here is the client portal. This is our impersonation, right? So you can click on this and now see what any one of your clients are going to see. That's actually going to be in here. So if I want to see what Steve's client portal looks like, I don't have to log in as Steve. I can click this button and see his portal. So here's Steve. It's been 184 days. It's been a while. And then here's all the listings that we're reviewing. So you can see there's a bunch on this list. And I can click into that. I can see all the images from the MLS, a little bit of information from that listing that pulled in from the MLS, and then any outcomes that we've done. So like Christian said, there's like 7, 8 things that we do. Even if they walk in, say no immediately and walk out, there's still like 6 or 7 things that we have to do, right? I have to schedule the home tour. I have to go to the home tour. We have to contact the listing agent. All of those different things. They're all going to be in here. And then just underneath that is the rejected homes. So if you have 29 rejected homes like Christian had, you'll have all those in here. Let me ask you this, Christian. You went and saw 30 homes. How many do you remember?
2, the one I bought and the one we almost bought. I don't remember any of the others.
And that's pretty common. I mean, most of our clients, they can't remember past the last 3 listings that we've gone to show them, right? So all of those rejected homes that we've seen, they get to be in here. So if we have been working for 8 years with one of our clients, that's a long time. That's probably the most we've heard, 8 years. If you've been working with a client for 8 years, put all of those in here. Imagine if you had that many rejected homes that were in here. All right. And then there is that journey. So like we said, there's activities, outcomes, and these are going to continue to grow as we go through that journey with our clients. So this is the way that we get to see that journey. If I want to know what my client is seeing, you can see that right from up here is that client portal. Okay, so we saw the client portal, we saw the presentations, and all of those things, they're branded to you. It has your colors, your name. So if you're logging in for the first time and you're following along with us, this is what I want you to do first. In the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see your name. Here's my name. Here's my headshot. You may see your initials down here. Click on that. That's going to take you to your settings. Now, I have 3 tabs in here that I'm going to be filling out. There is personal info, public info, and brokerage info. So I need to fill those things out. So personal info, this is pretty simple. This is how do I want people to contact me? So my contact information, it's going to be on the contact card that'll be in the presentation. Here's the phone number, that information in here. Now, what your clients won't see is addresses. Now, this helps our algorithm that uses that automation that we said. So when you go out with the client, with your clients, and we go and visit those different places, it's helpful for us to know where we're starting from. So if you can put in your home and work addresses, that would actually help out with the algorithm. Your clients won't see that. Next to that is public info. So this is your big headshot that your clients are going to see, your bio. Now, there is a 500 character limit that is in your bio. And I don't have to say this, but characters are not words. Characters are letters and spaces and punctuation. But just so you know, 500 characters. And then your license number, your social media profiles, even your testimonials are down here. And this is a really simple copy and paste. So you add testimonial. You can put in their name and whatever they said. That's it. That's all we have to do. And then that's going to show up in the client portal for your clients to see. All right, last is your brokerage info. So put in your brokerage name, put in the brokerage approved website that we have here, your tagline, we can put in that, and then the logo. So you have your brokerage logo that's in there, and then the brokerage colors. So we can put that in here so that all of this is branded for you. So it'll have your headshot in there, all of the brokerage information and colors. Just remember, anytime you add something in here, we do have to select save. So when we click save, it'll publish that and it'll show it in all of those different places we just said. Okay, so we just did a lot. There was a lot of information we just threw at you. So Christian, let's take them through a quick recap of what are the first things we should do.
Sure. Look, this platform is all about showing you off and it's making you look amazing. And the only way that it can do that is that it needs to know what you look like. So we just took you through the branding. That is a critical function. It's not only critical so that you look great, it's also a compliance thing, right? You got to get your brokerage in there. You got to get the branded to your brokerage. This has got a client-facing portal and you have presentations showing clients. Obviously, you need to make that all look like the brokerage and you and your team and all that sort of stuff. So branding is really important. Go ahead and point really quick where that all is. Right down there. Click on your icon. That takes you over to the settings where you can update all of your personal and public and brokerage info. The other most important thing you do is launch a journey. You got to get journeys going, okay? And you need to go win your client. Even if you've already have a client in flight, start the journey, spin it up, invite them to the client portal, and just check off the things you know you've already completed. Learn what the journey is, use the default, get in there and just start playing with it. We have an incredibly high client acceptance rate. So all the clients love being invited to this portal and seeing what you guys do. So go ahead and make sure that you start that journey and then you click that invite client button right there. Those are really the most important things. Start a journey, load up that default template, start navigating around, get your client in there, launch a presentation and go win a client. That's really where your focus should be. The two other things that you should know, which we'll close this session about, is Tom, show them how to close the journey, and don't forget to show them where do they learn about all the things they need to know about all the things they don't know.
Absolutely. Okay, we're at the end. We're at the very end, you guys. Okay, so let's go over to Rachel one more time. So there's Rachel. We did it. We got to the end. We did all of our steps, our milestones, our outcomes. Now I'm going to go up to the top, and I'm going to click Close Journey. So when I close that, you're going to see all of those metrics that are in here. And when you click Next, it'll say, are you sure? We're ready to close? And yes, when we do that, this is what you get, is this closing report, this great closing report. This is branded for you. It'll have your brokerage logo in there, your headshot, the listing photo that's in here. Now, what you will notice is not in here is any client information. So I'll show you why that's important in just a minute. But this is storytelling. All of this is your story with your clients, right? This is the wedding album. This is your story together. So look what we've done. Here is that story. So we have that great summary page. So let's say this was 60 days. It was 30 homes toured, 4 offers written, $6,500 in credits that got negotiated, 196 outcomes. We've got a little more story. How long did it take to get to an accepted offer? How long did it take to get to a home, to your new home, to get into closing? And then we have congratulations. This is not your every day that you buy a home. So then we have all of this storytelling. And like Christian said in the beginning, there's that lawyer bill, right? And they have all those things listed out. And why do they do that? Because all of those things that they do for you are important. Well, guess what? All the things that you do for your clients are important. So let's tell them about it here. So we have our steps, we have our milestones, and then those outcomes that we're checking off. It's building this report. So we reviewed the buyer presentation. We talked about Rayse. We got your home and neighborhood requirements. Then we did the client commitment contract, right? Those are the rules. We have to get that done. So all those things that are in there, financing options, and then down into tours and offers. So those listings that we went to see, some that we considered, some that we rejected. All of that's in here. And then all of those listings, all the way down to the listing that we accepted. And then all of that expertise that you provided, especially in contract, those things behind the curtain that your clients don't get to see, here they are. So opening escrow, disclosures, inspections. Now, there are 4 listings in this closing report, and it's 26 pages long. Imagine if you had Christian's 30. This would be a very thick report. So we have all of those things for our clients, and this is such a great thing to take to that closing table because, like we said in the beginning, clients, they want to see what's going on. They want to see everything that's happening throughout their journey. They want to know all of these things, but they don't have a reference point for what's actually happening. That's why they think there's so little effort put into these things. So we get to take this to show them this is everything that happened. Now, like I said, there's no client information in here. So one of the great uses of this, what agents are doing, is they're taking this to their next presentation. So I get to set the table with my Rayse interactive presentation. It says, here's what you can expect. This is everything that's going to happen over the next 45 to 60 days. But do you want to know everything that happened for the last person? Here it is. Take a look. This is everything I did for the last person. All of those things, all that expertise that you provided, including all those crazy things that happened where the chimney was on fire and the bats were in the attic. All of that's in here so that they get to take that now and see everything that you're going to do. And imagine if one of your clients had a friend of theirs say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. And they go, hold on, let me go grab this. And they go and grab that closing report and say, here, this is everything that happened. Take a look. This is everything that you're going to go through step by step. You can see it all. So we're going to use this to not only win that new business, retain that business as we go through the entire journey together, as they get to follow along with that on that client portal. And then that closing report that's going to get that repeat and referral business and go back into winning new clients. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we want to do here. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to show you, where do we need to go if you need something, right? So anything that you need to know about anything that you don't know. So in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see contact support. So there it is. So we typically reply in about 4 minutes. So if you have any issues or questions or an existential crisis, go ahead and let us know. It's right here. You can message us from here. And then we have the Rayse Academy. So there's a quick start guide in there, a couple of courses if you want to review what we've seen today, even some links to live webinars that we're going to be doing. So all of that is in here. You can check that out under contact support. Whew. Okay, Christian, any parting words for us?
We're excited. We are frustrated about the false stories being told about agents. We believe the first platform that is about you. We are for agents. We love agents, and this is all about your value, your unique value. So we spend a lot of time and energy trying to make a platform that's customizable to the way you work and shows off all of this awesomeness that you do on a daily basis. This concept that consumers think you work 15 or 20 hours on a transaction is frustrating beyond words. And it's time to shine a light on what it is that happens on a day-to-day basis with you guys and change the story for the better. This is Agent 2.0, and we're really excited about being able to offer this through our MLS partners. So please jump in, use the platform. Click that support button if you have any questions, if you have feedback on the platform. Again, the platform is about you. So if there's better ways that we can show your value to your clients that you are inspired to have in this platform, we want that feedback. Let us know what you think, what's working for you, what's not working, etc. So let's go out there and win some clients, show them those presentations, and invite those clients to the client portal, and let's go ahead and change this story for the better.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Take care.